Hey everybody, what's up? Black Sun from Black Sun Studio again here, coming to you from my kitchen here. Don't mind the canting, the old Dutch angle. I can't find my selfie stick, or my stand, so I'm trying to use my backpack. But anyway, today's video is about the process of learning Japanese. This is a little bit different than what I normally post. I mean, occasionally I'll sprinkle in some Japanese content in my videos. I am a guitar channel after all, and an art channel and a writing channel as well. But I do like talking about Japanese and the process of learning it. So it seems like because of anime that everybody wants to learn Japanese, or seemingly a lot of younger people my age and younger want to learn because of anime. And I'm not the biggest anime fan myself. I mean, a lot of the old anime that I grew up with is what I prefer. I won't like list any shows because I'd be here all day. But I don't watch anime these days much. But I don't like some of the fans of anime because they can be a little cringy. I won't get into that here, but I've seen some pretty wiggy shit at some of my favorite Japanese hangouts in the area, and it's just a little, oh god, stop. You know, like when I cringe, pure cringe. Like I'm like, oh my god, I'm just wondering what these Japanese people at this store are thinking about us right now, because this is fucking embarrassing. Anyway, so I want to try and break this down here. I'm not an expert in Japanese. I'm very much a student. I would say I'm probably like intermediate, I would say. But my speaking could be better. I read Japanese every day, and I made recently. I completed my 3,000 flashcard project. Where I wrote out 3,000 flashcards of the most common Japanese words and that you would hear. And I study those. I just grab a stack and just memorize them and put them back and grab another stack. But that takes time. So the secret here is everything takes time, right? That's pretty much no surprise. But so what you should do if you want to start learning Japanese is learn hiragana, katakana. Pretty easy. I would say if you really work hard at it, hiragana and katakana can both be learned at the same time in about a week and a half, I would say. I mean, you just have to kind of get used to seeing the combinations like gya, ryo, bio, pyo. I'm just making just off the top of the dome here. But that's really what it comes down to. So once you learn hiragana and katakana, practice writing them, memorize them, whatever you have to do. And I found out recently that they're always making different combinations of kana for more sounds that they don't have sounds for readily made, if that makes sense. And then what I would do, I wouldn't dive into kanji right away after you're done with hiragana and katakana. Like maybe learn the first 80 characters in the first grade and memorize all the readings and stuff, because those are pretty common kanji. But after that, I would start learning words immediately. Like I would just, grab whatever vocab you can and just kind of, learn words that have kanji in it, and learn words, build your vocabulary, do a lot of reading, but not just any reading, because like you don't want to like read material that's way above your pay grade, right? So I read books that are for children. I know it sounds silly, but I do. This right here is Jupun de Yomeru Warai Banashi Ichinensei. So again, that's Jupun de Yomeru Warai Banashi Ichinensei, or first year of life. And these are like 10-minute stories. So I read books like these. I get them from Kinokuniya, which is by Chicago. They're $14.99. They're a little pricey, but I read these a lot because inside you've got really wonderfully illustrated stories and stuff like that. And you can see they have furigana next to all the kanji. And this is really what you want, because like you'll learn words and pronounce the kanji right, and it's not too hard. This is where I'm at reading wise. Like I'm pretty much, I would say, a little bit past beginner, I'd say. But I do have a lot of advanced Japanese books that I do read here and there, but I might not know all the kanji in there. Like I know logically what the kanji mean, but I don't know what word that is or what it means in the moment. Not yet, like all the time. So I would say that I'm very much still, a student beginning and whatnot. I always try to be as modest as possible because, it's not a competition. It's not a race, right? It's nothing like that. But so when I'm reading Japanese, I might not know what I'm reading all the time, but as long as my brain is making those synapses between the kana that I'm seeing and the sounds that I'm making with my mouth, it's like reading out loud in school when you're learning English when we were kids, you would read out loud. You might not always know what you're reading out loud, but you're getting practice of making the connection between what you're seeing and what you're saying out loud and what it's just good for your brain. So don't feel bad if you don't know everything that you're reading. Reading comprehension will come later, but as long as you're making the sounds with your mouth and being able to identify and read accurately, that's pretty important. That's pretty good. So don't worry about it. So get out there and read some basic material. And what's great about this is you can read one of these, and I've got a couple. Read another one, and maybe read another one, come back to this one, and it's going to be like a fresh set of stories because I don't remember everything I read in here. But when you keep reading the same books you have, you get faster and faster at reading those books. And then if you want, you can look up the meaning of the stories if you want. But if you've done any sort of studying on your own like I have, you'll be able to logically intuit the words that you're reading just through experience, like when someone says washi, like I, right? It also means eagle, obviously. But if you hear an old person say washi, they're saying I. It's just an old person's way of saying I. Boku, I. Ore, I for dudes. Watashi, atashi for women. Well, watashi is also for boys too, guys. But atashi is more for women. Kuruma, skoshi, a little. Chi, saina, okina, small and big, respectively. So when you're reading in the beginning, you might not know everything you're saying out loud or what the words mean. But as you build more experience, you'll be like, oh, I know what that word is. You still might not know the whole meaning of the story, but that's okay. You're going to get better. It's better than not reading at all, right? So read, whatever you can get your hands on. I love buying these books. I love seeing them all on my shelf, like seeing them on my bookshelf. It's really awesome. But also listen to a lot of Japanese. I listen to a lot of Japanese. I mean, this is where your anime can come in if you're an anime fan. Like, don't get me wrong, I love anime, but I'm a tokusatsu guy. I love Kamen Rider Black, Kamen Rider Black RX, Godzilla, Super Sentai, so those are the shows I watch. Kamen Rider Black is my favorite Kamen Rider, followed by RX. Jetman's my favorite Sentai, followed by Dai Ranger, then Jew Ranger, Kaku Ranger, and then Car Ranger. That's my top 5. My favorite Godzilla movie is 54, the first one. So whatever music, I listen to music all the time that's Japanese. John Day Arc is my favorite Japanese rock group. My favorite album of theirs is Arcadia from 2004. It's really, really fantastic. I love Japanese music. I have a lot of Japanese CDs I listen to. And, listening to songs is a great way to learn Japanese as well and pick up new words in your vocabulary. So when you start reading more every day, you'll be using those words that you learned from those songs that you listen to or the shows that you watch. And you'll be like, oh my God, I know that word. I know that word too. Oh, I know that word. And you might be wondering, well, how do I know where the particles are? Well, once again, through experience, and the particles in each sentence will just light up like Christmas trees. You don't have to worry about that. The more Japanese you listen to, the more you'll pick up on where the particles are naturally placed in human speech, and it's really not going to be as hard as you think it is. So anybody can learn Japanese. It's not a badge of honor to learn Japanese. People have been learning the language for thousands of years. People who, are people who say they're not that smart learn Japanese. You don't have to be smart to learn Japanese, okay? Let's get that out of the way right now. You just have to be determined and consistent. Practice makes consistent, in my opinion. As a musician, coming to you as a musician, as an artist, as a writer, practice makes consistent. Not perfect, it's consistency. So try to read every day, even if it's just a page, right? Try to learn new words every day. I listen to NHK News Radio on my phone when I'm at the park shooting hoops sometimes. I'll listen to Japanese music at the park all the time. But I'm always trying to learn new words, you know. But also, I wanted to talk to you guys about this ultimate hack that I've noticed that really propelled my own vocabulary. So, you guys may or may not know this, but the only system I collect for is the N64 because it's my favorite system of all time. And I have a huge collection of Japanese games on the N64, Ocarina of Time, Star Fox 64, Mario 64, anything you can name it, I probably have it in Japanese. And I learned a lot of new words from playing Ocarina like 16 times in a row on the 64 in Japanese, playing Mario 64 in Japanese, playing Star Fox 64 in Japanese. I learned so many words just from playing video games in Japanese. So we cannot discount playing games in Japanese. And on the N64, Kanji was, of course, really, really hard to read because of the time period that the games were made. They were really, really hard to read on a CRT. But now, guys, you can put your Nintendo Switch in any language you want. You can put it in Japanese. I've done this before to study for a day. Just put my Nintendo Switch in Japanese and try to play Metroid Dread, my favorite Switch game. Try to play Breath of the Wild in Japanese and see if I can do it. And it's going to be uncomfortable, especially if you're like a beginner like me. You're not always going to know what's going on, but you'll logically intuit what the words are, and then you can make them a part of your being, your own vocabulary. So do not turn a blind eye to playing games in Japanese, right? I also learned a lot of new words from playing Pokemon Red, Blue, Yellow, Gold, Silver, and Crystal in Japanese. I still do that to this day. I love playing Pokemon in Japanese because everything on the Game Boy was in kana, because obviously the Game Boy's display could not handle kanji, hardly ever. I mean, there were some games that kind of made it work, but they were far and few between. So don't neglect that. You can emulate Pokemon on your cell phone. And, you know, some people say playing video games is a waste of time. I disagree. You know, I always play my games in Japanese. And to me, I'm like, I'm not wasting my time. I'm learning Japanese as I'm enjoying a game. So for me, it's not a waste of time because I'm learning Japanese as I'm playing. So that's kind of how I look at it. Like, you know, I know everybody's excited about, Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door coming out, the remaster that's been released recently. I still play that game on my Dolphin, but I also have the Japanese original game on the N64, Mario Story, and it's a fantastic game in Japanese. So don't neglect that. Play as many games as you can in Japanese as you can. Um, listen to Japanese as much as you can. Try not to make it too complicated, okay? Because it doesn't have to be. YouTube is a fantastic place. When you think about it, everybody means well. They all have really good intentions to help you learn stuff. But they're also trying to make money, right? They want to make YouTube their full-time job. They want to make a career out of content creation. So they're going to make a video about anything. And a lot of times it could be overwhelming, especially if you're learning a foreign language of any kind or anything. If you're learning anything, it can be overwhelming because YouTube has a rabbit hole for literally everything, right? You guys know that. So, and that includes Japanese as well. So try not to go down the rabbit hole of grammar and all that stuff. I mean, you can pick up grammar from just listening to Japanese, and you'll pick up on where particles go. I'll give you a little hint right now. A little short synopsis here, if you will. Ga is a particle that I always associate using with emphasis. So if you want to, it puts emphasis on what comes before it. Wa puts emphasis on what comes after it. De is where a verb takes place at a location. So when you study at a cafe, you would say cafe de benkyou shimasu. So you're studying at the cafe. Ni is a location particle that's indicating where you're going. So if you say toshokan ni ikimasu. So toshokan is library. Toshokan ni ikimasu. I went to the library. That's an example of that there. No is possessive, so like Zeruda no Densetsu Toki no Ocarina, right? The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Or Zeruda no Densetsu Mujura no Kamen, Majora's Mask. Give an example of that. Mo means also or to. When you say watashi mo, it means me too, right? There are so many particles. Kara. Like if you were to say, I've just a random example, sorakara from the sky, you know. From the sky. Kara means from. Yo could be like a command particle, like if you say something, they might say, you know, koko desu, like, oh, it's here. And you'd say, yeah, you know, koko ja arimasen. You know, it's not here. Asoko desu yo. It's over there, you know, and be like, asoko desu yo. Point somewhere and tell them, and more assertively, that's over there. Te form, the te particle, or the te form of verbs is very assertive and commanding, like yamete, like stop, tomete, yamete, tasukete. You hear that a lot in anime and tokusatsu. I'm still recording. Sorry, my phone battery's dying. So I just want to give you a little rundown of some particles. Obviously, that's not all the particles, not even close. So don't worry about that, but that was just a rundown. So I wish you guys the best in your Japanese studies. Remember, I'm gonna make this quick. My phone's dying. Read, read, read. Listen, listen, listen. Play, play, play. Watch, watch, watch. There we go. So once again, learn hiragana, katakana. Learn some words, learn the first 80 kanji and all the readings, because they're pretty simple kanji. They're very common. You'll see them all the time, everywhere. You know, yeah, you know, listen, play a lot of video games, watch a lot of Japanese videos, you know, try not to get too rabbit hole-ish. You don't have to know everything all at once. It's okay to not know stuff. It's okay to learn things as they go. So anyway, guys, until next time, and mata ne.